Hello and welcome back everyone to another Bruno art piece here. Right now we're here and besides this gallery, Hand is here once again that I covered a couple of years ago. But we're going to be taking a look at this gallery of mythical creatures here for the moment. We have the Capricorn, the celestial creature has the heads and horns of a goat, a long tail of a fish, and strong hooves. Began in the ocean and climbed to the sky. So we have many different folklore, mystical creatures going on here. And we also have a little bit of a sign back here if you want to take a moment to read it. It's mostly just a little summary of backstory of the where the mythical creature came from. And here we have Cerberus, a fearsome beast that has 3 vicious pound heads, a tail in the form of a snake, razor-sharp teeth, and it guards the underworld and fears light. And there's an interesting little bit with all these statues that we're going to find out a little bit later on, which I think is a really neat little design choice that Bryn's done this time. Yeah, you might learn a little bit about mythical creatures. Some of them may even be some that you've never even heard of before, though there's definitely some of the classics in here as well. Got a giant in this one. Let's go ahead and read the sign down here. Etten. This monstrous giant has a tiny brain. It has 2 heads and filthy toes. The heads often bicker and it loves to stomp things, as we can see from the statue on that poor little fellow below. Unfortunate. We have little things floating around here too, and sometimes they just kind of break and shatter on the ground. Now this looks kind of horrifying, now doesn't it? I forgot to take a look at this thing a little bit better up here. Yeah, there went the little thing that was floating up there. I guess it ran into the giant statue. Alright, let's go ahead and see this, Omu. This legendary creature has a head like a dragon, a body like a giant centipede, 1,000 legs. It has deadly venom and fears human saliva. So that's kind of a weird little, weakness to it there. Just kind of have to drool at it, I guess. But overall, I think of the ones that I looked at here were kind of some of the freakiest ones. So they're basically a centipede mixed with a dragon. That probably gives it the odd look to it there. Alright, and here we have something that probably is a bit more recognizable, a little bit less terrifying. And that is the Phoenix. This legendary creature has the body of a bird, rises from flames, and flies to the sky. Symbolizes immortality and is reborn from the ashes. So the whole thing about the Phoenix is basically it's a bird that's immortal, as in it'll still age as far as I know. Eventually it'll die, but then it'll just kind of come back as a little chick in the ashes that it like disintegrates into. And as it says here, it's a part of Greek folklore. I noticed that some of these don't have the country they come from, which is a bit unfortunate, but some of them do. I know what this is, the Kraken, before we even look at it. Yep, this legendary sea monster has the head of an octopus, giant slippery tentacles, and large dark eyes. It grasps unlucky people and rests on the ocean floor. Now, what's kind of interesting with Krakens is that they're sort of, well, the Kraken itself is mythology. The over idea of giant squids and octopuses are actually a real thing. And it's pretty much summarized that Krakens came about from seeing these other large squids or octopuses about in the water, but they kind of took on a life of their own and became way bigger than they probably actually were. In Scandinavian folklore with that one. Alright, let's go ahead and continue by heading to the other side of the room now. Oh, this is a creepy looking one as well. Banshee. Yeah, it's Banshee. This mythological spirit has the head of a woman, tattered strands of clothing, glowing eyes, and flowing hair. They live on fairy mounds and cry mournfully in despair. And if I remember correctly, the Banshee is basically a bad omen, as if you hear a Banshee, it's supposed to mean that someone in your family is going to die. Like, I think that's pretty much the big thing about them, is that they're a pretty bad omen. Irish folklore. And yep, it actually says right there, when heard, it portends the death of a family member. And here we have, like, an eastern dragon here, just from looking at it. Dragon, this legendary creature has the head of a lizard or mammal, a long curving body and tail. It is covered in soft fur or scales. They have powerful magic and are highly intelligent. The reason I call this an eastern dragon is because the western style ones are always reptilian, lizard-like, while the eastern style ones are usually more like furry. They kind of have the looks of like foxes or otters or something like that. They're usually considered like water-oriented or wind-oriented, I think. Yep, here it is, actually. It explains a little bit of this, actually, here. Worm-like beast, they refer to them on the eastern side. I guess that could look kind of wormy. Kitsune. This clever creature has the body of a fox, 9 tails, and is full of tricks. They can shapeshift and are faithful friends. Kitsune is probably one that people fairly know, I think. Can't tell if that's like a mouse on the ground or what. Maybe. But yeah, they're basically like foxes, but with a lot more tails. Though they are kind of basically magical. Oh, I almost forgot about the portrait up here. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it. Yep, Japanese folklore. At 100,000 years old, they turn white or golden color. Keelan, I think that's how that maybe is pronounced. This mythical creature has a head like a giraffe, a body like a deer, and a coat of scales. It is vegetarian and has a single horn. It's kind of like a... It's similar to a unicorn, I guess, in a way. But it has a giraffe head instead of a horse head. This one I actually don't know that much about, but it seems kind of, I'm assuming it's probably, Chinese folklore? Yeah, okay. They walk on clouds because they refuse to harm or even a single blade of grass. Wow. Yeah, Baba Yaga, okay. It's kind of interesting because the Baba Yaga, as we see here, it's actually this witch up here. But she lives in this house. And it's actually become kind of popular in the last couple of years. This supernatural lady has a unique personality. She might eat children and might help travelers. She lives in a hut of chicken legs and has sharp talons. But yeah, I think there's been a couple of movies recently, and there was a couple of things like the Mad P game last Halloween that had Baba Yaga in it as well. But overall, before a couple of years ago, I don't think you would have really heard much about it, but it does seem to kind of be becoming more noticed. There's a hut that stands on magical chicken legs, and her home is surrounded by a fence of human bones. Tetsi Aru? A creature of folklore, and it has a face of a cat, a serpent-like body, and poisonous breath. It sucks milk from cows and fears white roosters. So it's kind of like a snake along with a cat. Definitely an interesting mixture there. Swiss folklore, okay. yeah, I guess they seem to be like pests towards cows, getting at your milk. I mean, they are part cat. I guess that makes sense. This actually shows a bit of what I was going to talk about later on. Everything in here is actually gotchaized, and you can actually get 2 parts of any of these statues and mix them together. Griffon, this legendary beast, has the head of an eagle, the body of a lion, wings and talons, guards treasure, and its feathers heal the blind. So yeah, griffins are fairly popular as well. You often see them in fantasy movies and things like that. Another Greek creature. I think in general the mythology, the mythical creatures from Greek mythology are usually the most well known. And we got the Mermaid. A beautiful aquatic creature. It has the body of a woman, a tail like a fish, and long flowing hair. She is curious about humans and can fall in love. But yeah, Mermaid's a pretty popular one too. Let's go ahead and take a look at that portrait up there and see what this says. Probable swimmers, they're mostly seen around shipwrecks, storms, and floods, and can be benevolent and helpful to those in distress. Well, here we got something a little curious looking here. Leona. This tragic legendary woman has a skeletal upper body, a lower body of a woman, and great regret. She kills unfaithful husbands and weeps for her child. So literally half bottom half human, the upper half skeleton. Pretty vengeful too. The Vizelian folklore. I think I said that wrong, but oh, we got a weird looking tree one here actually. This should be interesting. NaRafan. This peculiar tree has fruit in the shape of women. A strong, thick trunk, and it distracts horny hermits. Hermits climb the trunk and make love to the fruit. Okay. This one I definitely have not heard of before. So I'm curious of what country this one comes from. I do like the advanced lighting's on, so the shadows are going off here, and it's neat seeing the shadows of the tree in the background there. Okay, let's see. I'm curious here. Okay, it's Thai folklore. Okay. Very curious. That's the first one I had not heard anything about before. Ocopogo. This elusive creature has a head like an otter, a long snake-like body, and many flippers or fins. It is shy and polite and can create powerful water spouts. Ocopogo. I think that's I'm pretty sure that's a lake monster over in... I want to say it's Canada, if I remember correctly. Yep, Canada folklore. Still can create fierce storms. Okay, we got a arachnid here of some sort. Gomu. This creature folklore has the appearance of a woman, a body of arachnid, and tiny fire-breathing spiders. She lures men of her beauty and imprisons them in her webs. So yeah, that probably makes sense as why she's wearing like a robe on the first half there, because it's kind of concealing the other half of the spider body. In fact, it looks like the legs are just dragging there. Wow. Japanese folklore, okay. When it reaches 400 years old, it will begin to prey on humans rather than insects. I guess those are the fire-breathing spiders jumping off there. Okay, this is a weird one. Mana Nagara. This malevolent monster has an upper body that can separate, a severe torso that remains standing, and a log snake-like tongue. It preys on pregnant women and sucks the hearts of fetuses. So basically, this thing will basically propel its upper dislocated body over towards people, and the lower half will just sit there. Basically, it's definitely a weird mythological creature, even by other mythological creature standards. Something at the top of the standing torso results in the upper body being unable to rejoin itself, thus dying. Lives in volcanic caves. And we have, looks like Medusa here. Medusa, this mythological creature, has a head covered in snakes, a body of a serpent, and a petrifying gaze. She was raped by Poseidon and was jealously cursed by Athena. Yeah, the Greek mythology there. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of Medusa, though. Medusa was a beautiful woman who was followed and raped by Poseidon in a temple to Athena. Yeah, they usually kind of, oh, I got one for Bruno here, okay. This pale, melancholic creature has a head with curved horns, powdery moth-like wings, and exists only on the internet. She creates tiny worlds and is the queen of moths. Definitely interested in that light bulb, so I guess the moth bit definitely is there. She is queen of the moths and creates stories of worlds with hidden meaning inside. Drawn to music, but often lurks on the outside, listening and never dancing. So that's neat that she basically made a mythological version of herself there as the final statue. Yeah, but all these statues are also gacha size, as I was talking before, where you basically get half of one each time you play, and you can actually mix and match things here, and there's a great example of what I'm talking about here in a moment once I get done reading this sign. Over 400 combination possible. That's pretty neat. Yeah, you can see like the Medusa here, Leona, and you can mix match them. This tragic legendary woman has a head covered in snakes, a lower body of a woman, and a petrifying gaze. Because even like these bits down here are the little summary things at the bottom even changed with the mix maxing, which is a really nice little detail. That's kind of why the way things were spaced with the names were the way they were to make that work. So here we have the Arachnid one and the Mermaid. You can even mix match these ones and see what you get with that. Beautiful aquatic creature. It has the appearance of a woman, a tail like a fish, and tiny fire-breathing spiders. She is curious about humans and imprisons them in their webs. So I can see they actually do still make some sense with the summary wording which meant all the summary wording had to be done particularly carefully with that. But yeah, this was another wonderful Bruno gallery. I'm always happy to see these. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys with the next one here real soon. So, see you then.